I want to make this video because I want it to be clear that whether you're an atheist or a believer in a religion, you can still make logical fallacies and even distort the truth. And I think that we're going to see a couple different um, examples from both sides. So I personally am not an atheist. I'm Jewish. I do practice, and I am somebody who does believe that there is a higher power and spirituality in the world. However, I don't always think that that there's this great arc towards the good and everything. I think, for example, that the world of spirituality is so unknown that we probably have a very small handle on what exactly is going on, and that people who claim that they know everything probably only know a little more than we do, if that. But in any case, there are a couple examples I'm going to bring up today, and one of them is from the atheist side, as well as and another one is from the side of the left concerning atheists. Replying to atheists like Sam Harris, as well as kind of a religious person in Jordan Peterson, and you'll see that people kind of want to interpret what they feel is desirable for them with regard to what their ideological enemies are saying. So this person is saying that basically Jordan Peterson's Nazi apologism is what leads to Lindsey Graham uh, kind of waving off Ocasio-Cortez's analogy between the Holocaust, Jews running away from Hitler from Germany, and the border. Because Lindsey Graham, if you don't know, a few days ago he rebuked Ocasio-Cortez for comparing the two. I actually made a video for it that I didn't really upload because I didn't think it was that good. And this is actually the second reshooting of that video. So I don't know if I'll make a personal statement on that one because I don't want this video to be super long. But I'll just say that I think that Ocasio-Cortez really was out of her mind when talking about that. But let's read through some of the article, the first half, and we'll see where it goes from there. I have a couple sources on the second example also lined up. It says, in life, it's wise to be wary of those who tell you they're free thinkers. Like fame, free thinking is something better displayed than proclaimed. To the casual observer, Jordan Peterson bears all of the handmarks of an intellectual powerhouse. So this person gets the sentence wrong and calls him, and says that he bears all the hallmarks of an intellectual powerhouse, but he's trying to maintain that he isn't actually an intellectual powerhouse. Best-selling books, a professorship in clinical psychology at the University of Toronto, and in a currency that's increasingly relevant, more than 1 million YouTube subscribers. A closer look, however, reveals that he's been providing pseudoscience bullets for the alt-right's online infantry for some time, including such gems as how serotonin levels in lobsters might just justify the gender pay gap. So this again is a point that they try to make Peterson look ridiculous. All he was saying is that lobsters have a hierarchy in their in their habitats, and that does relate to the level of serotonin in the lobster. And this is for an animal that actually doesn't even have a central nervous system. So he was trying to use that not to justify just the gender pay gap, but to say that hierarchies are natural in nature. There's no such thing as equality, even among species that are way below humans in terms of cognitive development, such as a lobster. Okay, it's not trying to say that it's wrong for women to earn as much as men. It's just giving an explanation for the way that certain hierarchies just seem to develop due to the natural progression of society and of a species in the case of lobsters. So then it says, footage emerged this week from a podcast recorded last year of the professor discussing the conditions that led to the Holocaust. We'll hear some of that footage in a second. There was the normal equating of fascist and Antifa. It should be fascists. So this person can't write between. I don't know if they have. This is from the Independent, which is it's not very far left, but it is a left-leaning, anti-Brexit, and pro-social justice newspaper over in Britain. So I don't know if they have proofreaders anymore. Maybe they laid all of them off. So on account of the latter's proclivity to violence, as if violence were a moral constant, there is discussion of Hitler's bravery during the First World War, as well as a revelation that he was very sensitive to disgust. According to Peterson, and I have no reason to doubt him, Hitler used the Zyklon, an easy version of the gas used in the gas chambers at Auschwitz, to clean rats from German factories. And this, along with the economic instability in post-Versailles Germany, to Peterson's mind, is evidence that the Holocaust was a logical progression. It shouldn't. An easy version shouldn't be. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and it should be an earlier version. So this writer, I think, might be one of the. It might be clear that he doesn't actually understand anything that Jordan Peterson is saying, because he probably has lower than average reading skills or listening skills, because if you listen to Peterson's lectures, he almost all the time condemns Nazism, condemns communism, condemns totalitarianism, but he doesn't even listen to this. This is the clip that he claims incriminates Peterson.
Natural starting point would be to ask you, and again, I've heard a few of the things you've said on this topic, but I'll just let you invent yourself anew, however it strikes you. What is the relationship, in your view, between science and religion?
Well, I think that religious systems are descriptions of how people ought to act. And I think that those arose in a quasi-evolutionary manner.
So let me rewind a little.
I think kind of a natural
arose. I think that those arose in a quasi. Well, I think that religious systems are descriptions of how people ought to act, and I think that those arose in a quasi-evolutionary manner.
So this has nothing to do with what Peterson is accused of saying about Hitler, that he just and by the way, what Peterson was likely saying, because we don't have the quote available, because he doesn't quote him word for word in the article. He doesn't actually share the correct clip from the Sam Harris podcast. I don't even remember what the podcast is called. I think it's called something Waking Up. Okay, so this guy is basically being the most dishonest that you can be in order to smear Peterson as justifying the Holocaust. What Peterson is actually probably saying, if we can ever get the correct clip or the correct text, is that Germany did not just arrive at the Holocaust because of random or illogical hatred of Jews or gypsies. The Germans, after World War I, they were in a state of disarray, and they ended up putting together their country, unfortunately, in a haphazard manner, and they had the reparations payments to the U.S. Then, of course, there was the Great Depression, and that's when Hitler rose to power, promising to set everything back together, and he had the convenient, logical explanations for why everything was going wrong by citing issues of Jewish depravity and certain cultural corruption and race mixing. And he put together this whole catalog of new beliefs for Germany concerning the master race and concerning the Führer principle, which is his belief that he has absolute authority beyond any other person in order to enact his ideas. So I want people to understand that was the logical progression that led to the Holocaust. Calling it a logical progression does not imply that it was justified or moral. It implies that the process by which it was arrived to was through deep thought and deliberation. That is what Peterson was likely talking about. If I can disassemble this garbled piece of crap that the Independent published. So this person even agrees that the Holocaust, Matt Green agrees that the Holocaust followed a series of logical progressions is in a sense true. If one were to reverse engineer the final solution, each step would appear to follow rationally from the one before. That's exactly what Peterson was saying. But this, as if it even needs saying, is not proof that the Holocaust was logical. Yes, it is. And he wasn't trying to say that the Holocaust was logical. He's trying to say that the Holocaust was not just a visceral process based on a random desire to kill people. So he's basically extrapolating. He doesn't know the definition of the word logic. But that it was the endpoint of a deliberate process that had started many years before, a process that was constantly testing its contributors by moving the conversation further and further towards what would once have been unthinkable. The other thing is that Peterson uses this explanation to talk about why the Holocaust, why some of these new belief systems that are created are so dangerous, because they do lead to bloodshed like the Holocaust. So this person is basically trying to attack Peterson for attacking the Holocaust by claiming that it was a logical process. And then they segue into the whole issue of Lindsey Graham and Ocasio-Cortez, which I'm not. I think I did put up a video about that last week. It might have been in connection to a different one. So let's move on to the next example. So here we saw somebody before, misreading completely Jordan Peterson's statements about the Holocaust and calling it Nazi apologism. Now we're going to see somebody who doesn't know what atheism is, doesn't know or doesn't know that anybody can be an atheist, and therefore by becoming an atheist or believing in atheism, you don't necessarily negate anything else about yourself. So this is from Lalo Dagash, who is a Palestinian atheist from Chile. I think he's actually he might actually be a pro-Israeli Palestinian, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not sure, because there is a small group of Palestinians who consider Israel a more desirable country because it has a stronger foundation of freedom of religion than their own country. There's not total freedom of religion in Israel, but it is much stronger than in certainly the Palestinian Authority. So this person starts out by saying, so Palestinian atheists are a thing. Oh, don't call yourself Palestinian, a country and culture built on faith, if you don't have any. So then he zooms in on that. And she also says, I just want to know why you believe I'm supposed to actually ikhras. I've met atheists, just not Arab or Palestinian ones. I don't know why this is hard for you. So ikhras, by the way, is it just means shut up. Okay? I think this is I don't know what the ikhras is, by the way, it's a website that is extremely pro-Palestinian, but that's what it means, shut up, as if you're so ridiculous we shouldn't even listen to what you're saying. I just want to know why you believe I'm supposed to actually shut up. I've met atheists, just not Arab or Palestinian ones. I don't know why this is hard for you. No, it's hard for those people because you're saying that by their very being atheists that they can't be Palestinian. So somebody says, Layla Khalid, an atheist who put Palestine before anything, don't forget the struggle. So this person's name is Celine. Celine. So Layla Khalid was a secular Palestinian activist and terrorist, by the way. She was okay. So if you don't like the word terrorist, airplane hijacker. So she hijacked. I think she was involved in more than 2 hijackings in the late 60s and early 70s in Europe that were eventually diverted to Jordan. And she was a member of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, which is a Marxist-Leninist group that is dedicated to creating a one-party democratic state in Palestine that is secular and socialist. So that's who that is. So I think I don't know for sure that she's atheist, but she would certainly be a secular Palestinian activist, and therefore it could be that this person is right and that she is an atheist. I'm not completely sure of that. And then this person says, delete this asinine statement. That is the most narrow-minded and pig-headed opinion I've ever heard. You don't get to decide who's a Palestinian and who's not. And then Celine writes back also, Palestinians are Palestinians regardless of what they believe, Majeda. It's our blood. They belong here before any religion does. So I believe this was after the original person, Majeda, deleted the tweet. And then this person says, literally more than half the population is atheist, which I'm not sure if that's correct. I would have a hard time believing that more than half of Palestinians are atheists. Let's look that one up. That's one thing I forgot to look up. So, I don't see any new evidence of that, so I think that might actually be false. I would probably say that the majority of Palestinians are practicing Muslim or Christian. So then Majeda says, bro, I deadass had no idea, and now all these atheists popping up upset. Well, that's because you're a dumbass. So then this person, Zakaria, says, Palestine isn't a Muslim theocracy. Stop treating it like one and just live your own life. The concept of being something other than Christian or Muslim in Palestine isn't such a surprising concept. Laugh my ass off. Ignorance is bliss, though. So Majeda says, it definitely isn't a Muslim theocracy, dude. I didn't know it existed, and maybe one day my mind will be open enough to accept it. So she just keeps saying that her point was that she didn't know that there's Palestinians that are atheists. But she said in her original tweet that you can't be both. And then this person whose her Twitter handle is there, but it says Palestinia, which means a female Palestinian, says, Habibi, no one cares if you only just discovered that atheist Palestinians exist outside your little cocoon. I'm commenting on their not Palestinian part. Majeda says, am I talking to a wall? I think so, yes. So she's doubling down on it. No one wants to hear you talking at all. Get that through your thick head. There's nothing more depressing than seeing walad wa banat baladi, gatekeeping and being narrow-minded and intolerant. So walad wa banat is boys and girls. So balad, so it would be like homeboys. She's trying to say homeboys and homegirls, gatekeeping and keeping narrow-minded and intolerant. So then this other guy says, or I think this might be a woman. She says, don't call yourself a Palestinian. Her name is Layla. If you do not accept all other Palestinians, regardless of their faith or lack of one. And Majeda, so this is a Christian Palestinian, I believe. And this Majeda says, I feel like you aren't getting the fact that I didn't even know there were any with a lack of one. And then somebody chimes in and says that they are one. And then people are calling her stupid. So Majeda says, are you done? If you let it all out, it's that hard for you to believe that I'm not exposed to it? Okay. So then this person, Saif el-Barawi, says, my advice to you is to look beyond your family and local Palestinian friends. You'd be surprised to know the different views and beliefs we have. And then somebody repeats this whole thing. Palestine is the highest percentage of atheists in the Middle East, but you're too ignorant to even try to wrap your mind around the idea. I really want to see where if that's even true. So Majeda says, I actually didn't know it was a thing at all. I just learned today, so calm your tits, Yama. So it's like she can't catch a break. You are wrong. Anyone can believe what they want. Palestine is not based on religion or faith. She says bases, but to each their own, and that's my opinion. Palestine is based on faith, but go off. And then she says, I deleted my tweets because y'all too invested into bullshit. But she's wrong. She's absolutely wrong by saying that people who are atheists can't be of a certain nationality. Palestinian, if there's this whole argument between people on the left and the right, or rather between people who are concerned about this conflict, the Israel-Palestinian conflict, there's a lot of people who like to shout out that Palestine isn't even a country. So my belief, my personal perspective on that is that I don't care about that argument, because there are already millions of people who are they have for several generations called themselves Palestinians. So whether it's true or not, the fact is established. So we don't have to get bogged down in that definition, which I think will probably never be settled. Okay, because you're not going to convince people that know from their parents that they are something that they're not. Okay, unless you possibly convince them that there's something else. But one person said something that was completely wrong, saying that, and it's not, well, I shouldn't say completely, it's not legally correct. This person said Palestine isn't a Muslim theocracy. Stop treating it like one and just live your own life. So I looked up earlier. This is the Venice Convention, the Venice Commission, which is an official body of the European Union. And they they published this document, which is the Palestinian Basic Law of the Palestine National Authority. And if you look at Article 4, it says Islam is the official religion in Palestine. Respect for the sanctity of all other divine religions shall be maintained. 2, so section 2 of the article says the principles of Islamic Sharia shall be a principal source of legislation. And 3, Arabic shall be the official language. So those people saying that Palestine is not a theocracy have to qualify that by saying, look, you could probably base a country off of Sharia law in a very diluted manner and say that it's not Islamic. But in reality, yes, it is based on the theological arguments of Islam. The Sharia is based on the hadiths and other texts of Islam. So these people who are atheists who are saying, well, you're so stupid, Palestine isn't even a theocracy. Well, according to their own basic law, it is. Whether in fact they enforce those theocratic beliefs of the Sharia is a point of argument. Now, let's also put this into clarity. The Palestinian Authority in Ramallah, which is the officially recognized government of the Palestinian Authority around the world, is governed by the Fatah party, which is that's a party that is secular. Okay. However, even they put this into the constitution of the Palestinian Authority due to the centrality of Islam in Palestinian society. Okay, this is not something that is by mistake. They didn't just put the Sharia into there because, well, I guess we had to pick something to base it on. Palestinian society is very much oriented towards Islamic religion and belief systems. Okay, there is a sizable Christian minority in Palestine. It's actually in the Palestinian Authority and Palestinian territories that are over there, but they're actually growing smaller. They're actually shrinking, I should say, due to immigration and due to conflict, where they seem to be losing their place and giving it up to Muslim neighbors. Okay, and there's a lot of people who will dispute that. No, it's a true thing. Christianity in Palestinian Authority territories, whether it's in Gaza or the West Bank, is shrinking, and every year it's just becoming less and less powerful. Now, what I was going to say is that the other part of the Palestinian Authority that's not under their own governance at the moment because of an internal dispute as power struggle, you could say, is Gaza. And Gaza, or Raza as they call it in Arabic, is governed by Hamas, which the Hamas people should know is it's acronym Harakat al-Muqawama al-Falistiniya, or no, it's Harakat al-Muqawama al-Islamiyya. So the Islamic Resistance Movement, that's what it's called. Those people should, so yes, part of the Palestinian Authority is literally a theocracy. The Hamas group does govern Gaza with complete and total loyalty to Sharia and basically Islamic clergy, or rather probably legal scholars would be the better term. So yeah, I think that there's people who misunderstand things, they look at the world the way they would like it. So they would like somebody like Jordan Peterson to be saying something that justifies the Holocaust, when in reality he's condemning the Holocaust for a different reason than he's saying. And they would like to say that Palestinians are able to believe in atheism because even the Palestinian society, even the Palestinian Authority doesn't impose religion. It's not a theocracy. That's what they think. But in the legal sense, it is. So you have people of various different. So you see these atheists making mistake. There's people who are, there's people who are religious making a mistake about atheists, and that's why I think that intellectuals, especially some of these new atheists like Sam Harris, they are looking at the world really in a wrong manner, because they think that once everybody embraces atheism, you're going to have a society that bases everything on facts and reason. No, I think some people will continue to use facts and reason, and other people will continue to think the same way they always did, but with a different justification. I don't think that changing a belief system, changing from Christianity to Islam, like Sinead O'Connor did, it doesn't make her any more or less of a logical thinker. She was mentally ill before she converted to Islam, and she's mentally ill now. So I think she would be an excellent example of how some people just have issues where they don't want to think logically. So what did you think of this video? This is the second time I'm shooting it, because the other time I kind of garbled it up and did a lot of word salad. But please like this video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to my other channel, Razor Ray Live Wounds, which might be changing format pretty soon. And also, please share the video, comment when it uploads, and please contribute to the Patreon if you can. Subscribe to my other social media, Minds, Gab, definitely BitChute. Subscribe to me on BitChute, and I'll talk to you guys later. And enjoy your Sunday and the rest of your week.